the perspective that I would like to start with is just to understand the nature of resistance itself a little better. Because, like everything else down here in a 3D reality, resistance is not one thing. Resistance is not just a singular thing that always presents with the same face and is about the same things and results in the same consequences. Believe it or not, resistance is also a trinity. And they're not all bad. Resistance does have a center point, which is very, very positive. And that is that because it's such a strong force field, it can actually very powerfully be used to literally keep out of our lives that which we don't want. It can be incredibly powerful towards developing our own character, developing the character traits that we actually do desire, and not identifying with things that we don't. It is also very foundational towards having a solidly functioning moral core with which we make the decisions and the choices that we make in life. Resistance is also the force very often that can empower our free will and our agency to refuse an experience and not continue creating something negative that was perhaps just begun. So that's resistance in its positive use. However, resistance also has two faces that are less than desirable. One of them is unconscious and one of them is conscious. And both of these faces of resistance can play out in two ways. So in other words, we've got one that in three different ways is beneficial, two polarized ends of a spectrum that contain four different faces that are varying degrees of negative and harmful. So let me just elaborate on those a little. First of all, conscious resistance is resistance that we are aware of. We know we have it, and we choose to keep having it. We know it sabotages us. We know it doesn't serve us. We know all the things in our headspace, but the force field of resistance, for some reason that we think we don't understand, is kept in place. Then there is another form of conscious resistance that we want to look at even less. We're conscious of it, but we're just not going to pay it any mind. And that is the form of resistance in which we really do want something. We desire it intensely. And we can't help but notice that we do not have that thing. It is not in our lives. It is not a present reality. We notice its absence all the time. But we won't bring our attention to the resistance that we know must be there. Otherwise, the desired thing